Two, clear tonight, low 64, and then mostly sunny for tomorrow, and the high 85. Clouds and sun, thunderstorm in the area on Saturday, the high Saturday 88. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
66 right now. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning. Thought I'd put in one of my Dan Proft's quips. John Anthony here from the hit show Black and White Radio, heard every Saturdays from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on these airways, joined by my good friend, former ABC 7 reporter Charles Thomas. Charles, that was it's the first 2 hours blew by, brother.
Oh yeah,
it just blew by. Yeah, you know,
good conversation.
And you know, one of the things I really love talking about on my show is the state of Black America, and because I think sometimes as Republicans, I've yet to see here. I'll just use Illinois as my example. I've yet to see Illinois go to the Black community and say, "How can we help?" Instead, Republicans think they know what Black people need, and they try to just throw stuff at the Black community. And the Black community is like, wait, first of all, we don't trust y'all. There's no assessment as to say, hey, what is it? What can we do in the community? Like that's what I love. What Devin Jones over at the 18-4 Southside Republicans 18-4, what he's doing. He opened up the headquarters over there, and now he's really engaging. He's registering new voters. He's doing speaking engagements all over all the time with Latasha Fields and her husband Ronald. They're engaging in the community. When Latasha Fields was a lieutenant governor candidate, they were out there, brother, engaging into Black community to say, listen, let's have this conversation because. And I remember telling former chairman Tim Schneider, Tim, let's do back to school things. Let's set up shop. I'm telling you, because the Black community, in my opinion, is hungry for change.
Yeah, underwrite a little league team.
Yes,
or several. I mean, do something like that, and that always distressed me, particularly in my role as a consultant for candidates.
Yeah,
it is. Don't spend all the money on TV ads. All you're doing is enriching television stations and sale and account executives. Take that money and spend it in the community doing things, as you mentioned, that help the community and let them see that it's you doing it. And then people will react. Because let's face it, the Democrats are not doing it that way. All they're doing is paying political operatives, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes.
And joining us to discuss this is somebody I've always admired. Her and I have got a chance to talk a few times. I know she loves my aunt and uncle Hiram and Geronda Crawford a lot more than she loves me. Star Parker, who's the founder of CURE, Center for Urban Renewal and Education. The first taste I got of Star Parker was her book, Uncle Sam's Plantation. Star Parker, welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, thank you. It's good to be with you. I love being in Chicago, even though I'm not physically there right now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate this opportunity to talk to your folks.
I know you love my aunt Geronda from the Illinois family, pro-life, pro-choice. Pro-life, pro-family. I know you love them a little bit more. I'm sure they're listening. So I had to give them that shout out. So I thank you so much for joining us, though. You wrote a book. I actually have the book, and I've read the book, The State of Black America. Star Parker, talk to the people in Chicago and across the world. What is the state of Black America today?
Well, it's interesting that you would start with the state of Black America because we did receive a cease and desist using that name letter from the Urban League. So we've changed to the state of Black Progress rather than fight them in court. Yeah, because we look at it this way. CURE came out with this annual tome simply because the Urban League consistently and continuously pretends that America doesn't work for African Americans, doesn't work for Black people. We felt someone needs to look at the real data and see, are we making progress? Have many blacks bought into the idea of freedom? How many don't believe that the country's stacked against them and that they actually have a land of opportunities sitting in front of them, and if they would realize their potential, that perhaps they could live the American dream? So we did change it to the State of Black Progress, and what we're talking about here in this particular edition that's just been released is where are we on 4 fundamental areas when it comes to policy. Now, of course, Dr. William Allen and Janice Rogers Brown look at the governmental difficulties in the courts with inside of this tome. But the 4 areas where I have experts going into a deep dive to say what has happened in healthcare, what has happened in education, what has happened in housing, what has happened in economic stability, in terms of policy, where did we go wrong, where can we correct, so that everyone in America can participate in this great country's dream.
When we talk about black, this is Charles Thomas, the co-host today. When we talk about black people in this country, whenever we raise the issue, or if I raise the issue of family, restoring the black family, man, people go berserk. They don't want to talk about what we are doing to ourselves in terms of our marriage rate falling off the cliff, our single-parent households skyrocketing. Nobody wants to talk about that.
That's interesting. I think about when someone's driving. It happens to couples all the time. When the husband makes a wrong turn. Thank God we have internet now. We have maps inside of our phones, but people still don't know how to drive. They just cannot seem to figure out that map. When you're taking a wrong turn, it's really hard to admit I've taken a wrong turn. And sometimes instead of just getting off at the next ramp and turning around and going back the way that you should to then make that left turn or that right turn, people keep going. And what has happened in African American community is we made some terrible decisions coming out of the civil rights movement, and we got on the wrong road. Rather than living the dream of Dr. King that said remove governmental barriers so that we can live free, so that we can have opportunities for housing, opportunities for education, opportunities for health care, opportunities to stimulate our own economic stability, we took the turn toward make them pay. We want revenge. We are not going to settle for just freedom alone. We are going to go after government intervention programs. So we got off the road of desegregation and went on a road for forced integration. In that dilemma for us, government not only started hiring our best and brightest to put them on the nanny state, but 5 years after King's death, we saw Roe v. Wade as national law.
Yeah.
So just picture the scenario. Right in the middle of the 60s, right in the middle of our movement for freedom, we saw a great society develop, a racist Johnson telling even the students at one of our most prestigious university, Howard University, that freedom is not enough. You guys cannot make it on your own without a nanny state. So you've got that in the mid-60s. By the time we enter the 70s, Roe v. Wade is national law, and we started killing off our offspring, which made our families collapse. Marriage collapse, family collapses. And so that's the reason, Charles, that people don't want to talk about it, because it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
We took the wrong turn. And it takes an adult to say, perhaps we should reassess ourselves. We might even need to go back to that moment that the Civil Rights Act was signed into law, the Fair Housing Act and the Voting Rights Act, and go up the different route. But we are so far, we're 60 years into this wrong turn that it's just hard for people to admit that, we made a mistake.
Well, Star, we had a mayor here in the city of Chicago that said basically said the same thing about 60 years, but in reverse, that it was Nixon that was right. I mean, Johnson that was right, and not Nixon. So I mean, when you look at
the people are still pushing that the government is our savior.
Yeah.
And many of the leaders of most of our urban core, we have 8,700 broken zip codes in this country, and they all have the same thing in common. Big government has taken over all private interests. Big government controls their schools. Big government controls their political environment. Big government controls all their family life. Big government controls all their jobs. Big government controls all the property, whether it's for private business and or for how you house. No, this is a real problem. And then you have these kingdoms of people that, like the mayor, I suppose you're talking, that want the status quo. They really believe that their problems and the problems of their city are somebody else's fault. We're hearing the same narrative out of the Palestinians in Gaza.
Yep.
My problems are their fault. And therefore, we don't fix what's right in front of us. But he has a vested interest in keeping the status quo.
Yeah, the last time a Republican received over 20% was Nixon, 32%, according to this article you wrote in Rocky Mount Telegram. Is there any possibility in your mind, because winds of change blowing among black voters, because I believe it. I believe Trump got 12% of the vote last time. He got 8%, I believe, was in 2016. Is there any shot at Trump getting 20% of the black vote this election?
What we know is that a growing number of black voters are coming to realize that the policy prescriptions of progressives have not served them well. And we're pointing to this in our tome. Many of our authors are pointing to where we got off track, as I said, in these areas. So, yes, are African Americans now rethinking? Well, why are many of them rethinking, especially our younger black males? Because they're 2 generations away from the civil rights movement. While they respect and honor their elders, their grandparent, maybe even their great-grandparent at this point, it's not their reality. 40% of African Americans live in the suburbs, so their interests are very different from those that are in the hard pockets of our urban core. We're looking at now 75% of black people live in the great middle class or above. And in fact, when President Trump signed into law the tax bill, within 1 year, we could see the data that we had more black Americans making over $75,000 a year than under $25,000 a year. Are there still problems that plague many parts of black America? Yes, but we're not talking about a one-size-fits-all community, so we cannot be talking about one-size-fits-all solution. So yes, people are very, very open to hear what is it that the Republicans are offering under the leadership of Donald Trump. Not just on a national level, many African Americans are living in red states that things are going well. Are they everywhere we want them to be? Of course not. The economy is affecting us. Inflation is affecting us. Illegal immigration is affecting us. We have crime. We can't even look over our shoulder anymore to see that we would be safe in our environment. But when you think about the policy prescriptions for making life better, our red states are far superior to the blue states today, and this is affecting the decisions of black voters.
Wow. She's Star Parker. She's the founder of CURE. Thank you so much for joining us on the Chicago Morning Answer. And I'm going to reach out to you because I would love to have you on my Saturday show as well. I'll text you.
Absolutely.
We
run in the same circles. Please do that. And you guys keep fighting there in Illinois. I know that you'll think the whole state is called Chicago. Every time people say, what state are you from? Then you guys say Chicago.
Right.
But these blue states can turn red. They used to be red. So we want to stay hopeful. My residency is still in California, even though I work here in Washington, D.C. Yeah. There's hope for the future because people want to live free. So, yes, absolutely. I'll look forward to coming on your show.
And I'll let the good holder, Babette Holder, know that I talked with you today as well. Because,
you got all of my friends there.
Star Parker, follow her on X at Star Parker. Thanks so much for joining the Chicago Morning Answer. We really appreciate it.
Great advice. Vote your interest.
She is amazing. We'll be right back.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
My name is Dr. Dave Anspaugh. I have co-authored a wellness textbook, which was the #1 bestseller. And I do about anything that I want to do. I still take care of my own lawn, and I go to the health club. We'll go 2-3 miles on the treadmill there. I've been taking Balance of Nature about 6 years. It has convinced me that it's a great product. I enjoy playing golf. I will go out there and go down to the green and go back and do it once or twice more. Seems like being retired, I've got more going on than I did when I was actually working. I stay active. I do about anything I want to do. As long as I'm breathing the air, I'm going to be taking Balance of Nature.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature's summer savings. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off your first set as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. While supplies last, go to balanceofnature.com and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. Since 1969, we've been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows. From modern to traditional styles, Marvin replacement windows and doors can bring your backyard right into your living space. Make your home feel brighter and more spacious. Our professional services, along with